You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure you visit the Glebe Central Pub right in the heart of the Glebe. Great food, awesome drinks, a great atmosphere. They're vibing at the GCP every night of the week. You can also get your Send Shuttle tickets on the Glebe Central Pub website, glebecentralpub.com. $17 round trip to and from the CTC. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and the Ottawa Senators lose 3-2 in Chicago, 11 straight losses against the Blackhawks. Haven't beaten them since 2016. This game, they double them in shots, double them in chances, but give up the game-winning goal with less than 3 minutes remaining. Pilsy, what hurt more, this one or the one that you were boots on the ground at last March?
Well, I mean, you're putting me in a tough spot here because both of these are painful. I feel like the meme right now, the hello, darkness, my old friend. And I'm just like staring off into the distance, like, how is this happening again? But the sad part is, this isn't even that shocking because, Ross, we were talking before, we didn't realize how bad things were up against the Chicago Blackhawks. With this win, that is now 11 straight losses to the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, it is nuts that the Ottawa Senators just cannot seem to find a way to beat them. And sure, it's close. And Tim Stützle will remind you that they outshot them 42-22, which is great. But maybe they needed 60 shots to get the win on this one because Peter Mrazek was looking pretty good and the Ottawa Senators couldn't capitalize on their chances. And I don't know where you go from here. When you beat a team that was on an 8-game losing streak and is actively tanking and has a roster as bad as the Chicago Blackhawks, how can you expect to beat anyone else in the league, especially after coming off a 5-1 loss to the Ducks the night previous? Yikes.
I think what makes this one even feel worse, Pilsy, is the fact that like they lost this game twice. Like it felt like they had lost it with when Connor Bedard danced around off of an Artem Zub giveaway. But then, sure enough, immediate challenge, quickest review I've seen in a while, it was offside. So they were able to get that one back to even. And then with 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in this game, like, or even less, sorry, because I'm doing the math wrong. It was too close to the end of the game, Pilsy, where the Ottawa Senators were taking this one to not even get a point. Another one, like the Arizona game comes to mind, where it's like they take it right to the end, but they can't even get a point out of it. And it really feels like almost a done chain going on the Ottawa Senators in this one.
And I think, Ross, the toughest part of this is we were looking at this team on a 4-game win streak, home game up against the Ducks, and then sure, you're on the road, but it's only one time zone over. It's not that crazy to ask the Sens to be able to win a game in a different time zone. So we thought, you know what, maybe Central Time won't ruin them that much, and you're up against the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, Ross, at the start of this week, or at least I'll speak for myself, I was talking about this team heading on to a 6-game win streak and then seeing what they could do up against teams in Florida like Tampa Bay and the Florida Panthers, which right now the battle of Florida is wild right now. Tampa not looking good, Florida dominating. So that'll be fun to play the Panthers. There's never any barn-burning, high-scoring games up against Florida, right? So I'm sure that will be just fine. But up against Chicago, it just seemed like the Ottawa Senators, at least the effort was there and they were getting chances. Norris hit the post. Sanderson almost had a goal like right off the top of the game. There were opportunities, but ultimately it's a Chicago team that felt like they wanted this more. And Connor Bedard is a generational talent already. Like, it's insane what this kid is able to do.
2 goals, 1 counted. And that goal, say what you want about the shot, I get it.
And an assist. Didn't he have an assist as well?
He did, but Korpisalo has to have that goal, the Bedard one. It went through him.
Yeah, at first, Ross, like when I first saw that, I knew people were going to get on Korpisalo, and I was like, that was a really sneaky shot by Bedard, like for him to get it off like that in that angle with not much kind of oomph behind his stick. But then you watch the replay from the back angle, and that's a fluttering puck going like barely moving at all. So that is one Korpisalo. Sure, it's Bedard, and he kind of catches you off guard with a nice release, but that shot is going so slow. All you have to do is be in the right position, and that should hit you 9 times out of 10. Unfortunately for Korpisalo, his save percentage is less than 900, so that one's going in.
Well, of course it is. 864 save percentage tonight for Joonas Korpisalo, and it feels like we're beating a dead horse at this point, and I know he had that little stretch, but even if you wind back the stretch where they were winning games, his numbers still weren't good. Like individually, those 3 games that they got wins through the middle of that win streak, he was very good. And then for some reason, they decided to go with Anton Forsberg against Columbus. And not that he played awful. He played okay in that game. But I don't know, maybe Korpisalo is starting to get into a rhythm or what, because ever since he's been back, like these last 2 games, 8 goals on 42 shots against Anaheim and Chicago. And look, I get that Chicago hasn't had Bedard for 16 games, I believe, but that's the 29th and 32nd ranked teams in goals for per game. Neither of these teams are offensive threats, and Ottawa just allowed 8 goals in 2 games against these 2 teams. It's simply unacceptable from a defensive standpoint. And like, also, you know what else is a trend between these 2 games? Ottawa held their opponent without a shot for 12 minutes against Chicago, 15 minutes against Anaheim, and then lost the period that they did that in.
Yeah, that's insane. And that's just the other team being like, we're going to play a simple game and we're going to find a way to beat the Ottawa Senators, which it just seems like all you have to do is not screw up and you can beat the Sens team because they'll shoot themselves in their own foot more often than not. And that's kind of what happened today.
It certainly was. Tonight's game, the Ottawa Senators allowed the first goal for the 6th straight game.
Yep.
That wasn't ideal. Nick Foligno, hashtag Sens abroad, last played for the Sens in 2012 before being traded for our guy, Mark Mathot. He's still kicking, man. Great play from Connor Bedard.
Literally kicking. I don't know. That looked like a kicking motion to me, Ross.
But what I would say to you is, was it obvious enough to make that call that early? If it doesn't get overturned, you give up a power play, they score that, it's 2-0, and then you're all the way on your heels.
It's risky for sure, but this is the litmus test I use for kicking goals every single time, and I swear by it. Go back, watch the Foligno goal, watch his celebration. Right away, he's slumping, and he goes, and then he realizes, he's like, oh, crap, I better try to sell this. And then he starts going with the boys for the fist bumps and the group celebration. Like, if he scores that goal and he truly thinks it in, instinctively, he's throwing his hands up and he's selling. But that's not what he does right away. So I think Foligno thinks, nah, I might have kicked that in, but then he's like, I'm going to try to sell this. And that's what saves it. Because like you mentioned, Ross, it's called a goal on the ice. And so you better be damn sure they're going to overturn it for kicking. And it's kind of weird. It was kind of in between there. And you don't want to go on get a penalty after letting that goal in. So I didn't hate the call to not challenge it, but at the same time, that could have gone either way, in my opinion.
And Ottawa had the, I'd say, better of the chances before that goal went in, and it was kind of a self-inflicted goal. Tarasenko had a bad outlet pass that gets turned over. Then Ridley Gregg has a bad change following it. Then it's bad defensive coverage of figuring out who's going where, and then it's tic-tac-toe, and it's in the back of the net. Then Ottawa, though, answered rather quickly in this. It was in less than 3 minutes later, about 2.5 minutes later, where I don't know how Matthew Joseph gets an assist on this one, but it was a tic-tac goal, or a give and goal, as neither of them really wanted to shoot it until the very end. And I thought they overpassed that one, but luckily enough, Tim Stützle was able to put it in the back of the net and get his first point in 5 games.
Ross, when they were coming down the ice, they were in the neutral zone, and I saw it was a 2-on-1, and I was like, Lord help me if they do an extra pass on this play. If Tim Stützle doesn't shoot it when Claude Giroux gives it to him, I'm going to lose my mind. And of course, Tim Stützle passes it over once more, and you know already that Claude's not ready for that pass because he has to stretch out to get it. And at that point, like, that's such a bad play for Timmy to make because Claude's run out of real estate there. But he's such a amazing vet, he's still able to stretch, get the pass, and have the wherewithal to be like, this is a low percentage shot for me to shoot it. I might as well try to get it back over to Timmy. And he's able to do that. And Timmy knows right away. He's like, I'm glad I scored that, but Claude's probably not that happy that I put him in that position and didn't just shoot when I have such a prime scoring opportunity there. But nonetheless, it's a moot point by me. Sorry for wasting everyone's time, I guess, because he gets the goal. But still, it's the fact that, and we talked about it when Matthew Joseph was mic'd up and he says to Timmy after, I didn't think you were going to pass it there. I bet you if you ask Claude Giroux, he did not think Timmy was, or at least should have passed it back to him there. So it's one of those examples where Timmy's trying to do too much. Just, next time, just shoot that.
It wasn't Timmy's fault today, though. I thought Timmy had one of his stronger games in the last stretch.
Yep,
so we'll
agreed.
get to the second goal, but he was buzzing tonight in this game. So it's 1-1 after one. The shots were 8-7 for Chicago. Ottawa took over this game in the second period. It was 22-6, the shots on goal. So naturally, they left that period tied at 2. But Jacob Chychrun finished off a great rush from Tim Stützle. That's where it's like secondary assist should count, because there's no way in hell that Tim Stützle didn't deserve an assist on that one. He gets the zone exit by himself. He gets the zone entry by himself. He drops it off for Tarasenko over to Jacob Chychrun. And like for a one-timer, Chychrun tried his best to make that not go in. Like he hit the far side of the net. He almost hit Mrazek when there was 90% of the net open, but you know what? It went in. It counts.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about another goal, Ross, so I won't complain there. What I will do after kind of ripping into Timmy on the first goal, I'll give him full credit here. This play starts behind his own net, and Timmy carries it all the way up. And this is why I always say, Ross, when there's games where Timmy's giving it away, and you always ask me about it, I always say I'll take the good with the bad with Timmy, because when it's good, my God, it's good. That was such an amazing play. He dances into the zone, and then the hockey IQ to see Tarasenko there and know, okay, now I'm done with the puck. I've done what I need to do, and I'm not going to do too much this time. I'm just going to dish it off to my pal Vladdy Tarasenko, and he does a great job. Playmaking ability from Tarasenko, who we thought was just going to be a sniper, hits Chychrun in the sweet spot, and chick, boom. I got to hear it. Sure, Ross, it was 3:30 Central Time, not 3:30 Eastern Time, like I had predicted and wished, but close enough for me. I love it. I love it.
Hey, it was 3:23. I looked up. I was like, didn't Pilsy say something about 3:30? So, hey, you were right there, my man. And then as soon as they give it, they take it away. 2.5 minutes later, Connor Bedard gets the goal. You want to walk through this one?
Is this his first goal or the disallowed goal?
No, the first one. It's where I'll just quickly do it because it was kind of a nothing burger play. It was like a 1-on-3 where he gets a shot. And like, again, he's an elite talent. The fact he got as much mustard on it was pretty impressive. But then the puck kind of came up to the wall. G got beaten to the puck. And it was just kind of like a bouncing puck that got tapped over. Bedard got it. And it was a quick catch and release. And like I already said, it went right through the goaltender.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. Not much for me to add, except that that's one you're looking back if you're Corpy, and you got to have it. There's really no excuse for that. Even a goalie hugger like me that tries to give goalies benefit of the doubt, bad goal.
Just a bad goal, and it seems like it's the Corpy way. One bad goal a game keeps
honestly, yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad. One highlight of this game happened at the end of the second period. Brady Tkachuk said, hey, I'm at least going to make some noise out here. Runs over Jason Dickinson, runs over Joey Anderson with 5 seconds left on the clock.
I put in my notes, Ross, Brady goes rogue. Like, he was just like, you know what? Screw it. And the best part about it is they're both clean hits, and it's Dickinson gets the puck. I'm going to knock you on your ass. Next guy gets the puck. Anderson gets the puck, like you mentioned. I'm knocking you on your ass. Like, that's what I love about Brady Tkachuk. If things aren't exactly going his way, he'll find other ways to get into the game and show his team and the opponents, I'm not happy with this. This effort level's got to change, and you'll have to see that. And then as the third period started, Ross, it was the first shift. Brady takes a spill in front of Chicago's bench, and you see the guys leaning over the bench, just giving it to him. So that's what you'll have to see. Morgan Riley probably would have cross-checked someone for that, but it's all in good fun here.
Big time. And also early in the third period, Batherson missed a wide open opportunity from the high slot. Like, did you think he had a little extra time to walk in maybe and pick a spot?
I don't mind that he just ripped it, Ross, because if I'm gonna tear into players for holding on and making extra passes when I want them to shoot, I'm not going to get upset if someone shoots too early. So obviously, you like for him to at least hit the net or the goalie or get closer there, but I don't mind the quick release on that one.
Okay. What else do you see in the third period before and up to? Maybe take us through that disallowed goal.
Well, before we get to that, Ross, there was another opportunity. How about Artem Zub in tight at the crease? He does the backhand move, and if Peter Mrazek doesn't do that sprawling, perfectly timed poke check, and Noodles, obviously friend of the show, goalie hugger, was talking about it. It was a great poke check. If he doesn't get that poke check, Artem Zub comes up with a highlight reel goal in tight backhand, which doesn't happen very often. So I was really hoping that would be a TSN turning point. But what is a bit of a TSN turning point was, and it involves Zub, is that disallowed goal that I'll walk through here. It's a bouncing puck on Zub, and he just quickly tries to chip it out, but he doesn't realize Connor Bedard's right there. He knocks it down, and as soon as he had that much time and space, Ross, I don't know about you, but I was like, he's about to do something crazy here. Like,
it was basically the same move he did against Slovakia at the World Juniors, where he walked in and then just went backhand and just wide open.
And for him to go so wide, backhand, forehand, that Corpy bites like that and is able to move back so quickly with ease, and that's what he planned on doing, like, is just so incredible. Luckily, there's a time where the Ottawa Senators do challenge that goal, as it was clearly offside in the replay, so no goal, thank God. But I mean, he just undressed Korpisalo on that one. That's one of the best disallowed goals of the season, probably.
Has to be up there. But soon after, like from disallowed goal to allowed goal, Jason Dickinson just a scramble in front. Thomas Chabot, I mean, we've been singing his praises on this show, but this is about like as bad as it gets, where he's just lost in his own zone, doesn't know where the puck is, ends up getting a shot on goal, rebound. He still doesn't know where the puck is, and it's able to be poked in. And like, not to chirp Korpisalo, but it's another goal. And how many times is it going to happen this year where Korpisalo is doing snow angels when the puck goes past him into the net? He leads the league unofficially in goals that go in where he is flat on his back, completely out of the play.
And a yard sale. Like, he's always losing a stick. And this is what we talk about, Ross. He relies on that athleticism because quite often he's out of position, unfortunately. And Dickinson's able to pop that into the empty net. He tries to dive over, but too little too late. I don't want this to be a Korpisalo dunking party. We could do it, but I did think there was a couple good saves that he had. And
that's the problem with him. He makes amazing saves that gives you hope, and then he takes it away. He's not a goalie that you win in the playoffs with. I'll tell you that for free.
Or the regular season, we're learning.
He actually has the playoff record of most saves in an NHL playoff game, and he lost the game. I bet you the game winner was a floater.
Yeah, that was an insane one. That was the 5 overtime one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a pitcher tells 1,000 words. This pitcher we're looking at here pretty much says it all, and that's the game-winning goal.
It certainly is.
Oh, what I wanted to say, Ross, is again with the goalie with the all-white pad setup. It's got to be some sort of, it's not a coincidence or anything that the goalies we tend to not love and that the contracts look terrible are the all-white pads one. Come on.
Spider-Man meme, Matt Murray pointing at Joonas Korpisalo.
Maybe the Leafs will take on Korpisalo and put him on Robidaw Island as well.
Yeah, who knows? On the other side, we will look for a Sen Central standout, but more importantly, we'll hear from Jacques Martin. It's a very short availability, but I really, really, really want to hear it. Yeah, the 5 overtime goal is a wrist shot from the top of the circle with no traffic. Just had to go back and watch that. I had to go back and watch it. Braden Point gets a wrist shot on Joonas Korpisalo with no traffic here. I don't even know if we're allowed to do this.
No, don't play it. Don't play it.
No, fine. It's hilarious. Go look it up yourself. So yeah, that's the story tonight.
We got Tankathon spins to get to, Ross. We don't need to be watching those.
We will. And our guy Mark has added up the postcast
I love
so
this.
far. It is awesome. I really appreciate him doing this. And Mark's calculated our wins, loss, overtime loss record, all of our postcast stats. So Mark Hamad did that. We're going to get to that after. But first, the postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is at 779 Bank Street. You can go check it out right in the heart of the Glebe, 779 Bank Street. Great food, awesome atmosphere. The drinks, they got the specials going on. You can go find those, Glebe Central Pub, on social media. And it's Saturday. So tonight, live music at the Glebe Central Pub. You can find live music at the Glebe Central Pub every Saturday in the month of February. And head to their website, glebecentralpub.com, and go look at the Send Shuttle. The Send Shuttle runs for just $17 round trip to and from the CTC. So leave your keys at home and bring the good vibes with you. They're running a bus for the February 22nd game against Dallas and the February 24th game against Vegas. So get there, and have a great time with our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. The vibes are free at the GCP.
This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. Guys, if you're drafting a fantasy hockey team, do you ever wish you could do the same with your business team? If you're building a roster to win in this league, in this economy, you need Indeed. It's because it's the one hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one simple place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites with 30 different tabs open like Ross has right now, looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. You can find top talent fast with hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match assessments and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resume on Indeed match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. It's simple. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed knows when you're growing your own business, you got to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/lockedon to start hiring now. Go to Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Boom. Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan. That's Brandon Piller. We are wrapping up a 3-2 loss by the Ottawa Senators to the worst team in the league. I say with a question mark because probably the San Jose Sharks at the end of the day. But the Chicago Blackhawks, they're not a good hockey team. I don't think they necessarily played a good hockey game tonight, except shout out to Ottawa 67's alumni. Peter Mrazek was very good tonight. We can't take anything away from him, despite the fact I would have liked to have seen more traffic in front of Peter Mrazek. I think he got to see a lot of those opportunities, but he's been doing this a lot this season. Yeah, the high danger chances in this game, 10 for Ottawa and 7 for Chicago, despite Ottawa having way more shots on goal. Rather, that is 5-on-5. It goes up to 12-7 if we add on the power play and other situations. But the Senators still find a way to lose, and maybe even more impressively, they lost in regulation. So good on them, finding their different ways to lose games. Let's get to Jacques Martin before we do our Sen Central standouts, because I'm curious what the coach thought of tonight's effort. Here's Ottawa Senators interim head coach Jacques Martin.
You have to tip your hat to their goaltender after this game, Chuck.
Yeah, he made some big saves. We had a lot of opportunities. We didn't capitalize, and we make one mistake, and it's in our net. That's the game. It's that kind of a game. I thought we had some really good opportunities early in the third period where we could have scored, and he made some big saves. We missed the net. That was the difference in the game.
Overall, did you get the kind of bounce back game that you were hoping to see from your team?
Yeah, I thought we worked. At times, we got to be better without the puck. I think a couple times, but I thought overall, we had a pretty good effort. Some people got to still give us some more, but I think overall we're pretty good.
Some people
game here tonight, Coach.
Who?
Tim.
I thought Tim gave us a strong game. I thought he was skating hard. He shot the puck. I thought he was one of our better players tonight.
Obviously, nice to have both Sanderson and Zub back in the lineup. Just something to build off of going into Tampa's game on Monday?
Yeah, for sure. I think, like they play a key role in our team. And I think that it was good to have them back both defensively and offensively.
You had won 4 in a row before these couple of losses here, but overall, do you like the direction that you see things going in?
Well, I thought there was a step in the right direction tonight. We didn't get the result we wanted, but I think, we it was a much better effort than our last game. So we're just going to build on that.
Despite the end result, did you get the
We'll get to Timmy in a moment, but first I want to ask you, Pillsy, and I'm asking the chat as well. Who do you think Jacques Martin is referring to when he says we still need to see some more from certain guys?
Yeah, that was no mistake that he said that some players still need to give him more. You got to think Norris is a part of that. I mean, he did have a nice opportunity where he hits the post there. So if that goes in, maybe we're looking at this game a little differently. But he hasn't been good as of late. I got to think Norris is the top guy he's talking about, because I thought some other players that normally we'd be talking about stepped up their game.
Well, Drake Batherson would be another one for me. So with that said, is it time to take those two off each other's wing? Because then you're looking at like what line do you break up the other ones? Like Pinto,
exactly.
Greg, and Tarasenko has taken a step back, though. They haven't been as good in the last 3 games, I would even say, going back to the game against Columbus. So would that be something that you look? Maybe you could bring back the Ridley Gregg. Like, is it time? Maybe this is a question, because when they got healthy down the middle, a lot of people thought Josh Norris was going to move to the wing.
Yep.
Is that something that you consider, moving Ridley Gregg back to center?
Yeah, and maybe you reunite that line of Joseph, Gregg, and Tarasenko. Remember, they had a lot of success before Ridley Gregg had to move back to the wing. I'm not against it, Ross, and especially that puts a little less pressure on Josh Norris to be a two-way player, and Jacques can literally just say to him, "Hey, we're moving you to the wing, and you got one assignment: shoot that puck on net every chance you get," because that's his bread and butter, is his shot. It always has been. So if you can find a way to kind of alleviate some of his responsibilities in other spots and just tell him you're going to be the trigger man, maybe that turns his game around.
Really,
worth a try
really,
at this point, right? Like,
so frustrating to watch right now, Pillsy. It really is. And it sucks to say, because he's got a ton of talent. Sens fans have seen it before. He is actually on pace for like 25 goals right now, but away from the puck, a shell of the player that he was in the last couple of seasons.
But even 25 goals, Ross, would be disappointing, I would say.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, it's tough times right now for Josh Norris. There's no two ways about that. I think that if you're looking at the back end, I think Chychrun had a better game tonight, but still, like him and Shabbat, they make me nervous when they're out there. And that's probably a bit of the reason would be because their goaltender can't give them a big save every now and again. So I feel like there's a bit of playing scared or playing not to give up a goal rather than looking to push the pace. But man, ultimately the Senators did outshoot, outchance, out everything the Chicago Blackhawks, except the most important statistic: goals. Ottawa falls 3-2 tonight to Chicago. We will get to our Tankathon spin, because it was actually a bit eye-opening to me where the Senators rank in terms of Tankathon, despite their impressive 8-2-2 run before things fell apart. But Mike got us in the super chat. We always appreciate those. Mike wants to know, do you think we're going to see changes in goal this offseason? It's a big question. Anton Forsberg has 1 year left on his deal at 2.75, and Joonas Korpisalo has 4 more years after this year at $4 million per season. Now, it's a diving contract in terms of the AAV, going down year after year, which makes the buyout a little more interesting. But do you think that Joonas Korpisalo and Anton Forsberg will be the goalies for Ottawa next year?
Absolutely not. I think what's most likely, in my opinion, if they are, then this team is telling the entire league they're tanking. They have to be. This is the worst goaltending duo in the league. I think what we're going to see is Anton Forsberg probably get a buyout. Sucks, because I had a lot of faith in Forsey before this year, but obviously when you maybe I'll allow his injury to excuse the change in his play because he's looked like a whole different goalie. But when you blow 2 MCLs on the same play, probably changes a lot of things, even if he is healthy right now. But I think they're going to buy out Forsberg, and I think they're going to keep Sogard down in Belleville all of the rest of the season. I think even if something happens, they'll bring someone else up, in my opinion. Have him develop in the AHL. Hopefully Belleville makes the playoffs, get a little more confidence there. And then I think you could see a scenario where Korpisalo and Sogard are the tandem next year until they can find something better. Now, am I saying that that's good?
That's terrifying.
No, I'm not saying that's good. But to find a goalie, everybody's looking for a goalie right now. So I think if you're gonna trade for a goalie, it's gonna cost a lot. And how do you make the cap space for it? I don't know how you do that. And you're not about to sign another goalie in free agency like that. When this move was made, the first thing I thought of is, when has signing a goalie in free agency long-term ever worked out?
I got one, not to discredit your point, because it does make sense, but Linus Ullmark recently.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Boom.
That's one. Though. There's a lot more times it doesn't. Jack Campbell would be the ultimate trump card on that one right away.
Yeah. Well, and then even like Bobrovsky, that's an interesting one. I would bet most of the time you're not going to say that deal works out. He makes $10 million, even though they did have a good year and he's playing better now. But it's not a good move.
There's teams that have more than one goalie. Nashville is going to move on from Saros eventually. I'm not saying he's the target. He's probably going to a team like LA or another team that needs a goaltender that's more imminent to making it, because he got 1 year left and then gets the big extension. But like there's teams that have more than one goalie that are out there. You look at Vegas, like a Logan Thompson, Aiden Hill situation. They could be a team that moves a goalie. You look at Montreal, but I don't know if Jake Allen's going to be the answer here. He's more kind of a 1A, 1B situation. Maybe it's like the coach and keeping your options open till the offseason, where maybe somebody becomes available via trade that you don't think or wouldn't expect to be the case. But Pillsy, if they run Korpisalo Sogard starting next season, I'm gonna have a ton of restraint out of any sort of hype with this team.
Look, I'm not. Don't get it twisted. I hope people in the chat and you're not misunderstanding me. That is not what I want to happen. That's not what I think would be the ideal scenario to happen. God, no. I don't think that's the play. But I just think it's so hard to find goaltending. You got to try to trade for one. So you're going to give up big assets to only get maybe 1 or 2 years out of them. Hopefully you can extend them if that's the case. But you're competing with. There's so much competition for trading for a goalie. You gotta hope the guy you've got long-term figures it out, or you gotta hope the prospect that you've invested so much time and draft capital in developing figures it out as well. Like, I think that's what the patience of Steve Stais is likely going to do with the little that we know from him.
Yeah, we'll see. They got to figure it out, and they don't even need like an elite goalie. They just need plus 900. Like, they've got to be, if not last, near dead
like a
last.
905. If they had a team 905 save percentage, I'd be interested in seeing their record.
905 like isn't even a good save. Like,
no, it's not. No, that I bet that's right around league average.
I'm looking right now at 5-on-5 save percentage right now. The Ottawa Senators, guess where they are? It's the least surprising thing ever.
31st.
32nd, dead last. They're the only team below 902, and they're at 896. It's not even close.
Yeah.
And the two teams that are just ahead of them at 5-on-5 save percentage, 30th and 31st, are both in the playoffs. Tampa and Colorado.
What? Wow.
Yeah, man. And then New Jersey, which isn't as much of a surprise. But all those teams are separated by, like, it goes 902, 904, 906, 906, 906, 906, 907, 908. Get what I mean? It's all by one. And then Ottawa's 896. They're multiple points below all these players. It's just driving me nuts. Anyways, like, I would even look, who's but even like a goalie like Laurent Brossoit, like, who has a bit of experience, but like that, like, they don't need a great goalie. They just need one who can be consistent and keep the puck out of the net. So it's a great question, Mike, and we're going to get to it throughout the next months, if not longer, when we go into a situation. And he is a UFA, though, after this year, Laurent Brossoit. Is he the answering goal for the Ottawa
Hellebuck won't
Senators?
let him go.
Yeah, maybe not, but I mean, he was already gone and then came back, but he's got a .920 save percentage in 13 games. But again, the way the Winnipeg Jets play defensively, a lot different.
Wait, just to add one more point to this conversation, the only other option, Ross, is you try to get a late 20s, early 30s guy for $1 million, and you hope you hit the lottery, right? Like a Wedgwood, like a Alex Lyon, like there's a couple other guys that are doing that this year.
Aiden Hill.
Aiden Hill's making a lot more money than
that.
But
when they got him.
Yeah, and Aiden Hill was a guy I was super interested when he was available.
You know what the problem is? And
thought he was going to be good.
I'm not going to throw stones at a guy who's been reassigned in the organization, but you have to think that the former goalie coach there, Zach Burke, was a huge fan of Korpisalo, because Pierre Dorion made it adamant that the team, like the scouting team, the management team, loved him. Well, who do you go to ask about a goalie? You go to your goalie coach, I'd imagine.
No, that's a good point. And they made an offer Korpisalo really couldn't refuse. Like, I would be interested to know what the other offers Korpisalo had, and especially that Korpisalo got that 5th year out of them.
I would be interested to know, behind closed doors, microphones off, what Steve Staios, Michael Andlauer, Dave Poulin think of this team. Think of the roster. Think of all the pieces.
Open invite.
Yeah. Well,
but we'll turn the microphones on for that one.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you're going to get as much candor out of this management team, and it's probably for the better. But really, really, really tough times. But you know what they say though, Pilsy? Tough times don't last, but tough fans do. And we're here with over 160 people. We started an hour and a half after the game ended, and it's a Saturday night. So we can't thank you all enough for coming and venting with us on the Ventcast after a 3-2 loss. I was so in my own head, I actually put on the graphic coming into the show, Pilsy, that Ottawa won this game 3-2.
Oh, God, Ross.
I know, because the last two, anyways, hand up. That's on me. So with that said, the Ottawa Senators are still fifth, Pilsy, in Tankathon standings. And this could change. This could change because it's a Saturday night. There's lots of hockey going on. But they're still fifth. They have 46 points in 51 games right now. They have 22 wins, 27 losses, 2 overtime losses. And we're going to give a spin for the citizens. We're going to give a spin for you, spin for me, Pilsy. I'll let you do the honors first.
Okay, hit me.
There it is. The Ottawa Senators draft first. And you know what?
Ross, this is so much better. This is the best. Look, Western Conference team, Western Conference team, Western Conference team, Western Conference team, and then Columbus, who the draft picks are kind of a waste of time there. So the Atlantic Division doesn't get going till 7 and 8. And then it's even more Western teams. This would be the chef's kiss of draft. Yeah, screenshot that right there. Ross and I would be in Vegas losing our minds at the Sphere for this draft if this
well, we're going to be losing our minds whether it's 10th overall or whatever the case may be. Pilsy, this is actually like I feel like this is going to sound so stupid, but it's true. We were talking about this earlier, Pilsy, if the Ottawa Senators win the lottery.
we already had Celebrini penciled into this roster.
No, but it would open an enormous can of worms.
Yes.
Because you're taking Celebrini 1. He is the no doubt number 1 pick. Anywhere else, you're like, take the best defenseman and away you go. But if you get Celebrini, whether he goes back to school for 1 more year, which is what they were saying, Ryan Whitney from Spit and Chicklets is doing coaching with BU, and he's hearing that Celebrini wants to go back for 1 more year. His best friend, who's going top 10, Cole Iserman, is going top 10, is joining him there next year. So they want to play together as well. But all that said, Pilsy, it would certainly add a wrinkle. And if he does go back, then next year would be even more pressure on all those guys who are making big money as well, because the new kid on the block will be coming in. All right, that's enough fantasy land for just a second here. as Pillsy got Ottawa first overall. Arizona jumped
You're
up
welcome,
to number
Pete.
2. You love that. So reset here. My spin, we'll finish off with the good citizens. San Jose jumps up 1 spot. Buffalo jumps up 6 spots to draft second. And the Ottawa Senators drop 1 spot to 6th overall. All right. Citizens can do better
before
than
you
that.
spin it, imagine Buffalo picks a defenseman there, that decor of Power, Darlene, and then whoever they get at number 2. Jeez.
It's
Let's hope that
almost,
doesn't happen.
I almost want to call it the Ottawa Sabres right now because they've got that same mud in the water.
Nah, but I think they're a year behind. Like once their prospects truly have graduated and spent time in the NHL, man, it's nasty the amount of talent they have. And then they have a lot of talent that they can move to acquire more guys too. But whatever, this isn't Locked On Sabres. Sorry.
No, it never will be. Final spin here. Here we go. Calgary jumps up 8 spots and gets to keep their top 20 protected pick.
I wouldn't even hate that much.
And Arizona jumps up. Ottawa would actually be the second Eastern team in this scenario, down 2 spots though, drafting 7th overall. All right, that's enough spinning for today. But really, dude, the intrigue for the rest of the season is the fact that we don't know what the heck Steve Staios is going to do next because he's never done anything as Ottawa Senators GM. But you aren't nervous or upset. I'm seeing a lot online of people being like, hey, they need to make a move yesterday. And as much as I would love that for content, you're not worried about the lack of roster moves in and out since Staios took over?
Well, I think we all got to take, and it's hard. I appreciate how difficult it is for Sens fans that have been in this misery for a long time, years and years and years now. It's hard for us to step back and be like, these guys took over this NHL franchise mere months ago. And I think they're looking at this like, all right, we've hit 0. We've reset things. We are only here 6 months. As far as they're concerned, this is all they've had to deal with. And maybe in their mind, they're like, we can be patient and take a couple of years to figure this out too, which as Sens fans is wild to be like, we got to sit through more of this. But I'm sure they're all sitting there. And the thing is too, if you're a new GM, you can't go calling around trying to make desperate trades. You're going to get walked all over. And Steve Staios knows that. I mean, heck, he probably played with half of the general managers in the league right now, right? Like a lot of them are players that would have played in his era. So he knows these guys. He knows what they're like. And you can't make a bad trade and lose kind of that negotiating leverage amongst your peers as the first thing you do just for the sake of making a change. You can't do it. And I know it's frustrating for Sens fans. I'm frustrated as well, but I don't anticipate they're going to make any rash moves here just to get the ball rolling here. I think
the fans type thing.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some players shipped out at deadline and then one major move in the offseason to clear up some cap space so they can start doing their own thing.
I'm intrigued. And this isn't a situation where I'm, what do you call it when you just want to separate yourself from something? Where you just like don't care anymore. Oh,
disassociate.
There's such a good word. No, it's called apathetic. I'm not apathetic to the situation, but it is kind of like watching something crash and burn right now.
It feels more like a sinking ship, Ross. Like that, there's a hole in the ship. Our feet are all getting wet, and we're like, "There's a hole. There's the hole." But no one is plugging it. Everyone's like, has someone told someone about the hole? Did you tell? Does someone know? We all know about the hole. Who's going to fix that? And all of us are just watching the water slowly rise on this sinking ship.
We will.
And Ross, we're as we've said before that we've used this metaphor. We're the band that's still playing.
Oh, we're playing. And look at other teams in the East. So Anaheim came through Eastern Canada. Lost 5-0 to Montreal, then beat Ottawa 5-1. The Leafs are beating them 5-1 in the early moments of the second period tonight.
Cool.
They're about to go 3-0 without Morgan Riley. So content was great though on Victory Sunday last weekend. No victory Sunday this weekend. Our guy Ali Des saying, preach, Pillsy. Don't make changes just to appease frustrated fans. Be patient. Don't pull a Dorian.
Pillsy preaching patience.
A
Trying.
tale old as time. You've been preaching patience since the players who are about to get drafted were in like elementary school.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's an F6-1 for the Leafs. All right. Great postcast, Pillsy. We vent together. We vibe together. And you and I have now locked in tickets to be at 3 games down the stretch. Winnipeg, Minnesota, and the season finale at home in Ottawa.
That's going to be sweet.
It's going to be interesting. We got lots to look forward to. And the years beyond, I still very much trust Michael Andlauer and his vision of this team. And I still very much trust Steve Stais, but it feels like something is letting this team down each and every night. Sometimes it's the same thing, and sometimes it's something new. So what's going to happen next? We'll discuss. We're recording tomorrow night for Monday's show, so it should be an early drop for you on Monday morning. Pillsy is boots on the ground in Belleville on Monday for Belly's birthday. What are you bringing Belly as a present?
I don't know. Maybe they'll tap me in for a quick shift. I'll hop in the Belly mascot and I'll do high fives and skate around the ice like a crazy person, like I did that one time. That would, you know what? I would do that if they wanted me to do that. I would do it. Amazing.
Final thoughts on today's postcast, Pillsy, as I lead you into the spreadsheet.
Oh yes, I'm glad we're ending with that. My nightmares have come true. The Senators playing the Chicago Blackhawks at United Center is always a disaster, and I am the biggest dummy in the world thinking this time it's going to be different, and my FanDuel account is hurting because of it, and I don't know why. I went with my heart, not my head. That can usually be a mistake, so I wish I didn't do that one, but we just lost to the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, I'll just sum up on that. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Our guy Mark, though, really helped us out. Love this. He made a spreadsheet of the postcast. So tonight was actually the 183rd postcast that we've ever done. Can you believe that, Pillsy? 183rd postcast.
Mark is finding his way into your heart. There's nothing Ross loves more than charts on a spreadsheet like this about stats about the podcast. So this is right up our alley. Thank you, Mark. This is amazing.
Look at our record. We are the Ottawa Senators of podcasts. We're 31-31-7. Just right at 500.
At least they got 7 OT losses there. Jeez.
I should just do the postcast by myself. 2-0 when I do the postcast alone.
And I feel like, Ross, most of those times or at least one of those games, you were calling the Belleville Senators game for the one that you did solo. So you're a one-man show sometimes.
Hilarious. The other one was when your flight got canceled going into Cabo. So it was a 5-0 game or 6-1 or something like that. So hilarious. And Mark has even taken it to the next level. Look at this. Ross and Pillsy. And we got a tab for each game, dude.
Oh my God.
Look at this. We can see some. Look at, dude, how much fun was that? We had a streak where it was you and me. We won 6 out of 7.
What a time to be alive.
Wow. And then we had another 5 out of 6.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Look at this run. What the heck is going on here?
Oh, we know what was going on there.
That's tough, brother. But overall, there's lots to look forward to. Mark, we're going to keep updating this. Yeah, a lot of people are wondering how you and Martian are above 500. Let's actually take a bit of a dive.
It's insane.
But no,
and our goal differential is even.
Look how well you guys started.
Oh,
that's why you guys had 1 regulation loss in your first 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
In your first 14 games, you had 1 regulation loss.
The split, if you split it at that OT loss, the tale of 2 cities there is insane.
You're 3-10 in your last 13.
It feels that way, man. It
really does. That's hilarious. See, these are the reasons. But overall, since we started the postcast, 183 postcasts, 81 wins, 87 losses, and 15 OT losses. A minus 49 goal differential.
We know how to cover a Ottawa Senators loss. The Ventcast We're very familiar with that.
Yes, it really is. So Ottawa falls to 0-10-0 outside of the Eastern time zone on North American soil in the regular season. They haven't won against a Western Conference team on the road all year. 0-10-0. But you and I are the kryptonite.
And we're going to 2 of those games. Cool. Awesome.
No, but we're the kryptonite. It's going to be way too little, way too late. But when the
True.
Senators are completely out of it, they're going to come out and they're going to beat both those teams. And we're just going to have to shake our heads and be like, Sens are going to have to fly us around with them next year until we lose.
We're open to that.
Amazing. Thank you to Mark Ahmad who made that spreadsheet
awesome.
for us. We're going to keep updating that. As you know, I'm not going to let that out of my grasp. But Pillsy, this has been another great postcast. Enjoy your Saturday, everyone. We'll have an episode for you early on Monday morning here for Locked On Senators. For tonight, though, we say goodbye. Thank you for watching. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.